Today on OC News.
A third suicide at the Disneyland Resort this year.
More cities in Orange County are making it harder on street vendors.
And the housing market is going up again.
All this and more coming up on OC News.
This just now in tech news. First responder on police.
There's been a lot of collaborative efforts.
I feel blessed to be here in Fullerton.
Brought to you by the broadcast journalism students
at Cal State Fullerton. OC News starts right now.
Welcome to OC News. I'm Miguel Castañeda.
And I'm Eliana Escalante. Thanks for joining us this evening.
A 30-year-old woman died in Irvine on Thanksgiving Day after her car careered into a lake. Isaiah Ruiz has the story.
In one of the safest cities in all of America, one of the most unfortunate incidents happened on Thanksgiving night. Despite these unique and hard-to-find roads, even in Southern California, they can be misleading for drivers that are not from the area. The body of Long Beach resident Camila Mendoza was found in a car at the bottom of this lake in Irvine, where she was pronounced dead at the scene. Many residents were alerted about the crash that night.
Well, I had just got home around maybe 9:30 Thanksgiving evening, and around 10 I heard some sirens, and then I started to hear helicopters, and I tried to figure out what was going on. I'm living like a few blocks from here.
Mendoza was reportedly in the area to visit a friend for the holidays, which has caused some to suspect that she knew the area well. That has led people to question her passing.
I'm standing right here, right out front of the lake where Camila Mendoza tragically lost her life at just 30 years old. Now, it is presumed that she was speeding right down West Yale Loop, and many residents around the area came by to pay their respects.
I spoke with a longtime resident of Irvine, and he mentioned how the presumed cause of death has been an issue for many years, including a similar incident 10 years ago.
There's been multiple accidents here, and most of them have been from the vehicle coming down this road from Irvine Center Drive down here to the West Loop.
Black mentions how there are effective ways that the city of Irvine, one of the richest in Southern California, can prevent tragic incidents such as these from happening again in the future.
You know, maybe down the road is to consider putting in a traffic light here, or possibly reinforcing these belt bollards to not allow a car to go over into the water.
With OC News, I'm Isaiah Ruiz.
The United States continues to respond to the humanitarian crisis in Palestine. The U.S. Air Force C-17 airlifted over 54,000 pounds of crucial UN supplies to Egypt, where it will be transported into Gaza by ground and distributed by UN agencies. This comes in addition to 500,000 pounds of food assistance delivered last week. Today's flight includes vital medical supplies and ready-to-use foods, addressing the urgent needs of 1.7 million internally displaced people, 2.2 million requiring humanitarian assistance. The U.S. responding to requests from USAID is leading the effort with $100 million in humanitarian assistance. Despite being the largest donor in the UN efforts in Gaza, the global response is only 21% funded. The U.S. calls on the international community to urgently step up and deliver on commitments together.
Former First Lady Rosalynn Carter was laid to rest this morning following a private service in Plains, Georgia. 99-year-old former President Jimmy Carter, who has been on hospice care for months, was able to attend both the service in Atlanta yesterday, where he was joined by both current and former presidential couples, as well as today's service, which included tributes from their sons Jack and Jeff and readings by their great-grandchildren. The Carters were together for more than 77 years and redefined what life after the presidency could look like as they continued humanitarian works long after their time in the White House. The impact of their work is still being felt today as many mourn the loss of their former First Lady.
Initially, there was a little pain, because again, it felt like you lost a grandmother. But then at the same time, when you live the type of life that she's lived and the whole world is responsive, and you just continuously hear people say, thank you, thank you, thank you, and what a blessing you were in so many ways and so many lives, it gives you a greater appreciation of what this world can be if people just show a little compassion and patience like Mrs. Carter and President Carter have done.
A series of unfortunate deaths continue to happen at Disneyland. Our reporter Sarah Granillo has a story.
A tragic suicide at the happiest place on earth has occurred once again. Police responded to the death of 24-year-old Jonah Alexander Edwards at approximately 9:30 p.m. on November 15th. He was pronounced dead at the scene.
It shocked me because I had no idea what was going on. They just said, oh, take the tram, you can't take the bridge, it'll be blocked off because someone jumped off. But it's kind of sad because it happens a lot, more than you think.
The incident happened at the 6th level of the Pixar Palace parking structure off Magic Way in Anaheim, California. This is one of the main structures that both guests and employees use during their visits to the park.
Obviously, they're probably suffering a lot mentally, to do that in a place that is meant for family and young children. So to think that kids could see that happen is very devastating.
Since this incident occurred on November 15th, Disneyland has yet to put out a statement saying why they haven't taken any measures to prevent this issue from happening again in the future. Now, some Disneyland employees have their own ideas on what the park can do to fix this issue so it doesn't happen again.
Disneyland should probably find a way to enclose the sides of the parking structure, and I've also seen people say online that they should probably put the suicide hotline, just because people don't think about that in the moment.
This is the third suicide to take place at one of Disney's parking structures in less than a year. But overall, 6 suicides have taken place at the structures since 2010.
I feel like all companies should talk about everything that goes on, just to be transparent with everybody and all their guests. That's how you keep the magic alive, I feel. I know they want to keep the magic alive and not have that idea in people's heads, but still I think it's really important to just be aware of everything that's happening.
It will be interesting to see what safety measures Disneyland decides to take to not only prevent these suicides from happening, but to also protect their guests from witnessing such acts. With OC News, I'm Sarah Granillo.
We're getting closer to Christmas, and temperatures are finally dropping. The Alvarado is in studio to tell us about this SoCal Winter Wonderland in the coming days.
Thank you, Miguel. Hello, Titans. Once again, I'm back to give you the latest on the current weather and the 5 days forecast. Let's start with the current weather. From what I see here, the highest temperature will reach 65 degrees, while the lower will be 48. We'll see 2 miles per hour winds and a 46% humidity. Finally, the sunset is at 4:30 p.m. today. Now let's check the weather forecast for the next 5 days. Tomorrow, Thursday, is going to be partially cloudy. The highest temperature will be 66 degrees and the lowest 50 degrees. This Friday, Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a beautiful sunny day and temperatures will change between 72 degrees to 46 degrees. Starting the week with Monday, Fullerton start heating up. The highest will be, the weather will be partially cloudy with temperatures reaching 76 degrees. However, at night will be a little bit better. This is all I have for today. Just to let you know, this is my favorite season and the perfect weather to have your favorite cozy sweater. Back to you guys, and I hope that you guys have at least one favorite sweater.
I've already worn mine 3 times this week.
Yeah.
2.
I think I need to invest in one. I don't even have one.
You really should.
Yeah. But coming up after the break, the housing market hits an increase.
And new restrictions on street vendors and AI doing shopping for you. All that and more after the break.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You can say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You can chat with them in VR. It's all good if you think you should check in. Yeah, you should. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health.
Whatever gets you talking.
Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
From selling tamales, flowers, or tacos, sidewalk vendors are essential in every city. New regulations are popping up on these same vendors in Southern California. Joshua Potts has the full story.
My name is Sandy. This is my food trailer, Pollo Coroco. We sell roasted chickens, wings, fries. I'm open from Wednesday to Sunday at the start of 10 a.m. Start wrapping up between 6:30.
Sandy is only 22 years old and he owns a food trailer in Harupa Valley. He got the trailer about a year ago.
I originally started off with the food stand before I even had this.
Sandy got a trailer because of the struggle that comes with the food stand.
Unfortunately, having a food stand is illegal. So in this case, I can't really fight with the law. The law is the law. So at the end of the day, even when I had a food stand, I still, would go do business. Even if they took me down, I'd go elsewhere and go do business.
Susie, the owner of Flor de Maria, says that illegal activities make it harder for everyone.
At times it's hard just because, there's other stands that don't want to follow the rules and regulations. So it kind of unbalances for the whole community.
Last week here at Placentia City Hall, the city made a decision to join Orange and Laguna Hills, these cities in Orange County that have been setting more limits on street vendors.
I think while some cities may look at it as, hey, this is a way to get rid of this, we looked at it more as a way to say, hey, if we codify it and we bring them in, how can we work with them?
Placentia passed the ordinance which requires sidewalk vendors to obtain 3 or more new permits and licenses, adhere to health and sanitary standards, limit their hour of operations to end 3 hours earlier, and more.
And we wanted to make sure that it was done in a way that adhered to the healthcare or health department standards and stuff like that, but not hinder them as independent business people. We recognize that some of those folks that's how they're providing for their families.
Sidewalk vendors aren't just providing, but also inspiring for their family.
And most important, show them that it is possible to start from scratch, basically.
And look out, because their drive won't be stopped.
I've already gone from a food stand to a food trailer. So now my goal is to go from a food trailer now to a restaurant.
In Placentia and Harupa Valley, Joshua Potts of OC News.
In September, home prices in the United States continued their upward trajectory for the 8th consecutive month. Despite mortgage rates remaining above 7%, historically low inventory puts ongoing pressure on home prices. The scarcity of homes for sale created a competitive environment amongst buyers. This trend is particularly noteworthy in major cities such as Atlanta, Boston, Charlotte, Chicago, and Detroit, where home prices have reached unprecedented levels. In cities like Detroit, San Diego, and New York, the growth in home prices in September increased nearly 7% within that month alone.
For many students, student leaders' involvement is a tool used to build one's resume and work experience. But for one student, it is a chance to give back. Our own Francisco Molina has more.
For many college students, balancing schoolwork and a personal life can be challenging. For Jeremiah Riggins, he views it as an opportunity to serve.
I feel like being involved definitely allows me to maximize my experience, to maximize my time. And it's not to build my resume, even though I do resume builder things. It really is just to use my gifts, use my talents to have fun and to give back.
He has served in leadership roles with multiple campus departments and organizations, which include the Black Student Union, Housing and Residential Engagement, and the President's Scholars Program.
He is so, he's just such a unique presence, just in terms of the energy that he brings. I've very rarely seen him not smiling.
With such heavy involvement, he makes sure his free time is centered around fun.
He's a very positive energy. What I mean by that is we go out, I'm kind of tired, kind of like lazy or something like that. Hang out with him, my energy is recharged like that. He makes me want to feel like, oh, let's go out do something. Or when I'm down to just like relax, kick in, he's all like, what should we do tonight? That kind of gets me in the mood to be like, what should we do tonight, you know?
Even with the numerous involvements that Jeremiah is associated with, there is one that he deems the most valuable.
I come from a family of preachers. My grandpa, uncle, and dad are all pastors.
Jeremiah serves as a member of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, where he often has the opportunity to preach.
It is something that I am very passionate about. It is something that when I'm up there preaching and I feel the Spirit of God, there's no better feeling.
Throughout his time as a student, Jeremiah has received multiple awards as a student leader, but his main priority continues to be mentorship.
When there's ever an instance where I didn't know what to do and other resources that I had kind of fell short, Jeremiah was there to not only like pick me back up, but to make sure I had the pieces where if I ever fell down again, that I could get myself back up.
The basketball season is in full swing here on campus and in the NBA, while the college football season is drawing to a close. We go to Kazra Naziati for more.
Basketball is heating up. College football is in championship season. Let's get into it. The Titans basketball team faced a tough test going up against Nebraska, and they gave the Cornhuskers all that they can handle. Senior guard Max Jones went out for 30 points. Knockdown shooter, playmaker, finisher, the guy was doing everything on the court. But sadly, Jones's heroic wasn't enough. The Titans lost 85-72. Despite the L, the Titans hope to take the 40% shooting from distance in their next game against North Dakota on Friday. Speaking of disappointing losses, LeBron James and the Lakers visited the 76ers Monday evening, and that was probably the best highlight of the night. The Lakers lost by 44 points. Yes, I said that correctly, 44. LeBron led the Lakers with 18, but the game was pretty much decided. Anthony Davis wasn't much better, with an average 17-11 performance against Embiid. The Lakers must flush this game down the toilet, because they face off against the 2-win Detroit Pistons team tonight. Lose this game, and the Lakers might have to take a hard look at themselves. Lastly, Cal State Fullerton may not have a football team anymore, but let's not ignore the latest rankings for the college football playoff. Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State round out the top 4, with Oregon and Ohio State just missing out. This weekend is gonna be a movie. Oregon versus Washington, Georgia versus Alabama, plenty of movement could happen come next Tuesday. I don't know about you guys, but I want to see Ohio State make a playoff. I want to see some chaos, and I always love the interaction between Michigan and Ohio State fans. How about you guys?
Well, being a big Bussin' with the Boys podcast listener and Taylor Lewan fan, I got Michigan. What about you?
Since Pac-12 is about to end this year, I think I'm going to try to go for Washington or Oregon. One of the two. Yeah.
Okay. And coming up after the break, a Titan Radio staff member is doing it all as a student.
And we have a place for you to get your Christmas tree. All this and more after the short break.
How prepared is your family if a wildfire shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or an earthquake? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Welcome back to OC News. Being a good student at Cal State Fullerton is already hard enough, but few go above and beyond. Our reporter, Samuel Enriquez, introduces us to one of those go-getters.
Cameron Macedonio is a fourth-year student at Cal State Fullerton. If you saw him around, you'd think he was just any other student, and you'd never know what he actually does. But before all that, Cameron was just another local kid.
I'm local to here. I grew up, for the most part, like 15 minutes away from here. And my whole family's from like LA, Orange County area, so it's not like I'm far from home.
Since arriving at Cal State Fullerton, Cameron's main goal was to experience as much as he could.
So when I came into Cal State Fullerton, what I wanted to do was just make something for myself, I guess you could say.
And ultimately, that led him to Titan Radio. Cameron began as a DJ, only working 1 hour a week, but his persistence would eventually pay off.
I'm the type of person that's like, when I am involved in something, I want to be like as involved as possible. So I would ask like the staff at the time, like, oh, is there anything you need help with? Can I help set up an event? Just let me know if you ever need any extra hands and I got you. And they never needed any help, but I kept pestering them about it.
After spending some time as a technical intern at Titan Radio, the general manager position became available.
I was just like, let me just apply for a GM, see what happens. And I got it. So this is now my third semester as general manager.
Since Cameron is the general manager, I decided to speak to somebody else at Titan Radio to see how they feel about him.
He's a very personable person and really goes out of his way to make sure you are seen.
Cameron already seems like a crazy hardworking student, but I haven't even mentioned the craziest part. Cameron actually works with the union. Cameron's official title is an organizing intern for the Cal State University Employees Union. He was actually inspired to reach out because Titan Radio ran out of funds to pay their student assistants.
I knew they had an Instagram, so I DM'd them on Instagram and I was like, hey, I just found out like I'm not gonna get paid for like 2 or 3 weeks. This is my only job, what can I do? And then they called me and they were like, oh, unfortunately, we're not official yet, but this is like what we're trying to fight for. We're trying to fight to be official.
Cameron began reaching out to student assistants to get their story and even spoke at a national press conference just a few days after reaching out. Cameron was offered an internship that summer.
And what I'm doing is I'm helping people I helped like the process kind of kickstart to the point to where now we have an election coming up in January, actually, where student assistants can vote to become part of the Cal State University Employees Union.
Cameron is graduating in the spring, and despite not knowing what's coming next, he knows whatever he does, he'll be good. This has been Samuel Enriquez with OC News.
In their latest restructuring move, Rite Aid has announced the closure of an additional 31 stores across the dozen states. The affected states include California, Washington, Oregon, and Nevada. California will see the closure of 7 stores. Despite these closures, Rite Aid will still maintain operation at approximately 2,000 stores. However, this move comes in the wake of significant financial challenges for the company. Over the past 6 years, Rite Aid has reported losses nearing $3 billion, and its stock has plummeted by more than 90% in the current year. The closures are part of the company's broader efforts to navigate a challenging business landscape and implement strategic changes in response to its financial performance.
A new way of shopping will take the internet by storm this holiday season. Artificial intelligence is now being used to help shoppers find the perfect present. Google and Simon Properties are some of the first to launch AI for gift giving. Experts share how AI is being utilized and the potential risk of the new technology poses for those who opt in. As this technology grows, AI will start to do the thinking for shoppers, to offer suggestions on what they might want to purchase rather than searching for the items themselves.
If you still haven't bought your Christmas tree, don't worry. Christmas Tree Village is still open for you. Reporter Lia Barrero has the details.
Christmas Tree Village is located in La Palma, California, and is one of those hidden places where you can find your perfect Christmas tree.
Christmas Tree Village was established in 2010.
We've been in this local community for going on 13 years now. This is our 13th year and 10 years at this particular location.
At this place, you and your family will live the whole experience of choosing together the Christmas tree.
In my opinion, I think just the whole aura of coming to a Christmas tree lot with your family, your friends, whoever you choose to come with, just the smell, the experience. We've been coming here for years, me and my family, and you know, just the owners and everyone here, they do a great job of making it a very heartfelt experience.
According to studies, 70% of Americans buy a real Christmas tree. And only by the smell, it makes me to buy one right now.
Once you're here, you can pick the color of your tree, but also the size according to their age.
The trees grow 12 inches a year, a foot a year. So every tree is sold by size. So if it's a 2 to 3 feet tree, then it's 2 to 3 years old. So when you see a 9 to 10 feet tree, it's actually 9 to 10 years old.
If you're interested in buying a real Christmas tree this year, Christmas Tree Village will be open until December 24 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is Dia Barrero for LC News.
Many food companies are starting to make their foods more inclusive by adding vegan and vegetarian options. The classic Kraft mac and cheese is going vegan. Kraft has partnered with plant-based food company to create a new product called Kraft Not Mac and Cheese. The vegan cheese is made out of fava, bean protein, and coconut oil powder. The new mac and cheese will come out in 2 flavors, white cheddar and original. Kraft says this new mac and cheese will have a similar taste, look, and feel to the original product. You can find it in stores nationwide now through early 2024.
Vegan mac and cheese, yay or nay?
I don't know. I need to try it first. We'll see. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us tonight on OC News. Our next telecast comes to you shortly.
Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at Titan TV. Follow us on Instagram at OC News, and from all of us here at OC News, have a great evening.